What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 17 of the Hookshot Podcast. If you're new to these, my name is Lucas Cohen. I'm here with my friend Rohan Borges. Rohan, we have a ton to talk about today when it comes to the UFC world. One of the biggest upsets of all time and all fighting. But before we get into that, we got to talk about basketball. You know the name, Hookshot. We got to talk basketball too. Team USA didn't even get a fucking medal in the FIBA World Cup. What the fuck is going on? You're more into this than I am. Just go ahead. Go on a rant.
Honestly,
break it down to us.
I mean, I am usually more tapped into basketball than you, but I really wasn't watching this tournament because all the games, obviously it's taking place in Australia, I believe.
I'm not sure. Let me double check.
I think. I don't even know where it's taking place.
FIBA World Cup.
But either way, the games are happening really, really early in the morning. It's not Australia. It's somewhere Asia, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Canada? No.
Is it?
No. Oh, yeah. The multiple locations it's saying. Philippines, Indonesia
okay.
arena.
Yeah, so it's in Asia.
Okinawa arena in Japan.
Okay, so
Japan.
yeah, they're all over Asia. But the point is, these games are happening really early in the morning. So me, personally, I'm not getting up to watch these. But
Same.
From what I've seen, man, it's just been a lack of character, a lack of defensive intensity. Obviously, there's star power on this team like no other in the tournament. This is the Team USA. I mean, it should be like that, and it was like that. Anthony Edwards, I would argue, was the best player in the entire tournament, individually. But when it mattered, down the stretch in those final few games, they could not get it done on the defensive end. I think Germany put up 113 points on them. Dennis Schroeder was doing whatever he wanted. Daniel Theis, bro. I don't know what it is about this international play setting where all these guys that are usually just role players in the NBA, they just come alive.
Him and Schroeder were like the dynamic duo,
and
right?
Dennis Schroeder, and then, for Australia, typically Patty Mills is always making some noise. But yeah, for Team USA, obviously, they just didn't have the cohesion at the end of the day. And I think they couldn't lock in defensively enough to really make a stand and win those games. And then obviously in the third place match, which, again, we expected a competition between Team USA and Team Canada, arguably the two most talented teams in the tournament, but Dylan Brooks going for 39 points, bro. I don't think that's something anybody could have ever
That's insane.
expected.
Like, he really turned the fuck up.
I mean,
That's crazy.
and the thing is, guys, I want to warn you, if you are a supporter of the Houston Rockets, Dylan Brooks is now on your team. You paid him a bag. I just want to let you guys know, you can expect this man to take at least like 13 to 15 shots a night. After the performance like this, because this man's ego is going to be through the roof.
Dylan Brooks, he's on the Rockets,
of the world,
right? Yeah.
And the Rockets are a young ass team. They just fucking deal. We have to talk about Kevin Porter Jr.
In a second.
But yeah, the Rockets are a mess, and Dylan Brooks might have a bigger piece of the pie than usual. So we shall see. But yeah, really disappointing effort by Team USA. Obviously, really star-studded coaching staff, star-studded lineup, but they couldn't get the job done. And Team Germany came out on top. Congratulations to them. MVP Dennis Schroeder. Good job. But yeah, we need to get that shit back in blood at the World Cup. Sorry, not the World Cup. The Olympics next year, 2024. I think everybody's going to be playing, so that'll be where it really matters. So.
Well, yeah, I was just going to mention that. Yeah. Before we get into that whole Kevin Porter Jr. stuff, you just mentioned, you see LeBron possibly committing, just every star in the NBA possibly committing to Team USA, and you got to think that's when they'll show their true domination. But still, they should have fucking won this. I mean, it's not like these other international teams are playing together the entire year. They also have NBA players like a Dennis Schroeder, a Daniel Theis, a Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Nikola Jovic, and even like a Zach Edey on Canada. Like that Canadian team wasn't even full of Canada players, right? But yeah, next year should be real interesting. But don't get me wrong, USA lost. It was still very fun from what I saw. I didn't really watch a full game, but still, love the highlights. But Kevin Porter Jr., man, New York City.
Yeah,
it's sad because he had a whole mental illness. Well, before I get into that, if you guys don't know, he I think it was last night. Did he hit his girlfriend or something?
He did a whole bunch of shit.
I saw
he
that
assaulted her. He strangled her.
She locked him out of the room.
She had a laceration under her eye, so it was a whole assaulting.
She locked her out of like the hotel room, and clearly that set him off. There's something not right with the guy, and I remember a few years ago he had this whole mental health breakdown. I'm not sure the specifics of it, but we know there was something wrong. But then all of a sudden he started getting playing time with the Rockets. He started playing well, and the problem seemed to have gone away, or at least to the public. But man, it's just, this is the first we're hearing of issues with him, and this is not good at all. And you got to think what's next for him and the Rockets, or him and the NBA in general, because does this guy even have a role on a Rockets team anymore?
What's next? Put the dude in jail, dude. I mean, this is like Miles Bridges level shit. Like we all, I mean, I don't know if we all, but at least in my opinion, Miles Bridges should not be playing in the NBA anymore, and he will be this upcoming season. Now, I don't think that should be the case with Kevin Porter Jr. either. I mean, dude, this is serious, guys. Like, this is not okay. And this is not the first time he's, acted out of character. Obviously, you brought it up in Cleveland. He had a whole situation where he was throwing food in the locker room. That's eventually what led to his departure in Cleveland, was that whole throwing food in the locker room. He had a whole temper tantrum. And then, everybody assumed that in Houston, under a different coaching staff where it's a change of scenery, he has a fresh start, he might be able to change his character. And to your point, we hadn't heard anything negative involving Kevin Porter Jr. until this, and this is just bad stuff, man. You can never, I mean, you guys know, man.
What can we say? That's all there is. It's just bad. I just hope he gets the help he needs.
Yeah.
I saw like some of his family members, or some of his girlfriend's family members who I saw is a WNBA player threatening him and whatnot. I just send that man to either to jail or a mental hospital, whatever the right help he needs. Just send him there, because he's a mess.
Yeah, we obviously don't. We want to clarify. We don't know the full details of this case.
Nothing.
So we're saying just based off of
Twitter.
Exactly. I mean, but we really don't know. But obviously this needs to be dealt with in a appropriate manner. So we'll see what that ends up being. But this is not a good situation. And if you're the Rockets now, I guess that does kind of open up a little bit of room in the backcourt, because before, Amen Thompson, Fred VanVleet, KPJ, Jalen Green, that's a lot of backcourt talent. But now that with, KPJ likely out of the picture, I
probably
think
just released, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what ends up happening, but I doubt he plays at least to start the season for the first, few months of the year. There's no way he's playing until, this all gets cleared up. But I mean, I'd be interested to see what happens in Houston in that backcourt now, if Amen Thompson is able to, have a little bit of more playing time as a result.
100%. Yeah, he's going to get suspended probably. He definitely is. It's probably the entire year, right?
I mean, we don't want to even guess right now, because it's just going to be, I don't know. They're going to have to deal with it, though. It'll be something to see.
All right, enough with the NBA talk. Let's talk UFC, because, man, that main event, it was the story of the weekend. We're not going to go too in-depth about the main event here. We actually have another video that was released yesterday about all of our initial thoughts on Sean Strickland actually beating Israel Adesanya by unanimous decision. We give all of our thoughts. It's a great video, super entertaining. So go tune into that. Definitely not biased that it's super entertaining, but yeah. But still, Rohan, for those that don't know, is the world's biggest Israel Adesanya fan. I'm going to step away from most of this full podcast segment and just let me know your thoughts. Is there pain? Have you recovered? Just talk to us.
I'm recovered from it. I've let it settle in now, and I'm actually really happy for Sean Strickland. Just, based off of his background, where he comes from. If you've heard his episode on Joe Rogan,
insane.
This dude's backstory is just really, really heartbreaking. He comes from a really, broken family. I don't want to go that far, but his dad was really abusive, and his grandpa had a whole Nazi background that we don't really want to get into.
He did himself.
Yeah, exactly. But just where he comes from and the hardships that he battled coming up to get to this point is just a real achievement that he should be super, super proud of. And I am really happy for him. And you could see, when that moment set in for him in the octagon, how overcome with emotion he was. That was just really cool to see. But man, as a huge Israel Adesanya fan, I was speechless watching that fight, man. And it wasn't that Israel looked different than normal. I thought you could say he had an off day because he couldn't really figure out Sean in the cage, and usually he's typically good at adjusting in the fight.
He just wasn't there.
But I think I made a mistake when I was calling this fight, and I kind of compared this fight to the Alex Pereira Sean Strickland fight, and I said, Sean got caught by Alex. I think Izzy might catch him with the same thing, but a lot of you called me out. An MMA match just doesn't work like this. I think this was a bad matchup for Israel Adesanya in hindsight. I think the styles didn't really match up well for him. And Sean Strickland coming in there with an excellent game plan, beautifully executed. I mean, pressured him the entire 25 minutes to the point where he was bullying him in those last few seconds of the fight. And just that guard was tight the entire time. He didn't let anything get through from Israel. Kept throwing those big straight shots. And then when he caught Israel moving laterally against the fence, he was catching him with big right hands and obviously sat him down. It was just a really, really nice performance. And one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, which is really sad to say.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything else to say. I mean, a great game plan from Sean Strickland. All the sparring he does, I mean, it turned him into creating this perfect style to beat Israel Adesanya. Literally the exact style you want to have to beat Israel Adesanya, unless you're like the greatest wrestler of all time. He beat him on the fucking feet. Sean Strickland. It's just insane to me. Guys, we give our rematch predictions in that video I was just mentioning. It's just on our channel. Just go click the hook shot under this video and you'll see it. It's going to be called Sean Strickland is the champ or something along those lines. You'll see it. It's pretty obvious. Just click on it and we go in depth on our thoughts on this fight. But we could just quickly go over the rest of that card and, talk our thoughts as well. Alexander Volkov versus Tai Tuivasa.
Bro,
both of us thought that Tai Tuivasa was going to get the job done. We knew he could have lost. Yeah, I mean, we obviously knew that was it could have happened if he didn't land that one bomb. But man, Alexander Volkov just looked career best, and as you just mentioned, Ezekiel choke from a guy in Alexander Volkov is that his first choke in the UFC?
Yeah, when does he submit anybody?
I want to look that up because he's known for not having really any ground game, but this just shows how much this guy has improved. The last time Alexander Volkov got a submission was a triangle choke outside of the UFC in insane, M1. And that was his first UFC submission. I mean, I guess it is tied to Tuivasa, but still, to pull off an Ezekiel choke, a choke that only a guy in Alexei Oleinik has really pulled off multiple times, just utterly impressive, especially coming from a striker. I mean, what a fucking performance from Alexander Volkov. Although we had that Tai Tuivasa KO moneyline ticket, man, you can't just be impressed. You have to be impressed. I mean, just what a fucking performance from Alexander Volkov. What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was just super impressed. Obviously, he did what he had to do to win the fight. He had a clear path to victory, right? Keep the distance, keep Tai at bay, not let him get in close. And Tai came pretty close a few times there. I thought, when Alex had him hurt on the feet and when he was going in for a finish at some points that Tai might be able to catch him with a big shot of his own. But Alex was really good in those exchanges. He never, left his head too open. And man, when he hurt Tai real bad and got on top, I knew that Tai, you mentioned it when we were during the live stream. You said, as soon as it went to the ground, Tai is a fish out of water on the ground. And Volkov,
I knew he was fucked.
Yeah, you knew he was fucked. Yeah, and that's been the case with Tai in the past. We've seen him, just suffer on the ground because he has no grappling, no wrestling, and Volkov, man, just shocked the world. Dude.
But I don't mean to interrupt, but it's Tai's fault, and I was yelling at the screen when the fight was going on. He kept throwing that fucking kick, and that kick when that leg was injured, and he did it the first time. He ended up getting up after Volkov fell on top of him after he fell due to the injury, and then he threw the kick again and lost the fight like that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Just throw your bombs. That's what you're known for.
Yeah,
like, why are you throwing leg kicks?
He was a little more patient, honestly, when he fought Cyril Gane. He was a little more patient, and I thought that he was just a lot cleaner with his striking. And again, he was relying on the boxing instead of the leg kicks, and I didn't think that he needed to do that at all. But it was just an impressive finish from Volkov, and he made a statement, kind of. I guess Tai Tuivasa is another fighter that just like, his past opponents haven't really been that good. So where he is high in the rankings, you're like, is he really on Volkov's level? Coming into this, obviously, everybody thought that he had the chance with that big shot, but that's really his only chance, because he is outmatched in every area. So, I mean, it played out as it should, I guess, but the upset did not happen, so that kind of sucks. But
great performance from Alexander Volkov. Let's get into, and this is the last fight we're going to break down for UFC 293, Manel Kape versus Felipe Dos Santos, the man who stole the show this week.
Oh my gosh.
Manel Kape, and that press conference, for those that don't know, Rohan and I, well, obviously you don't know, how do you know? We were fucking learning by ourselves. Manel Kape stole the fucking show, plain and simple. I mean, we stayed up and watched that press conference at 4 a.m, and it was worth it. I mean,
dude.
Manel Kape talking about Israel Adesanya's, PORN cartoon addiction. Don't want to get demonetized. It's just so stealing the fucking show, throwing bottles at Kai Kara France. Just one entertainer. Finally,
even after the fight.
Flyweight has some excitement. Yeah, and then after the fight, says another bad word to Kai Kara France. Don't want to say that here as well. But man, this guy is fucking pure entertainment. Manel Kape is. And he went up against Felipe Dos Santos, and I see a lot of people on Twitter. I saw this tweet: "What would happen if Kape fights Kara France?" And that's probably going to be the next fight, right? And I see everybody picking Kai Kara France. This is Felipe Dos Santos. He's not a scrub. This guy is good. This guy is fucking good. Not only is he next level tough, he's got, I wouldn't say pop in his punches, but he's extremely accurate. He's got great jiu-jitsu. You saw from the time Manel Kape was on top, you just saw the bottom game from Dos Santos. It was there. And I said during the live stream, this is like a mini Charles Oliveira. It really is.
Yeah.
I think Felipe Dos Santos is a lot better than people are giving him credit for. And I honestly think, you know what? I'm going to give my prediction for Kara France. I want you to tell me your thoughts on this fight and just Manel Kape fight week as a whole.
Bro, these flyweight fights, they're always entertaining. But man, that was just a really, really good showing from Felipe Dos Santos. Man, he came out there and he proved his toughness in front of the world. Dude, he was eating some big shots from Manel, but he was also connecting flush. And obviously, like you said, just a mini Charles Oliveira. He was even using those teeps to the body, the crane kicks. He was showcasing all of it. And obviously, Manel won the fight. He should have won the fight. But it wasn't, it wasn't a dominant victory by any stretch. And I thought that's what a lot of people were predicting. But now, if he takes on Kara France, which is obviously going to be the next fight, man, I am really, really interested to see these two match up, especially because neither of them like to grapple that much, but both can. Kara France is actually really adept on the ground, and so is Manel Kape. He has a few submissions when he fought back in Japan. But man, and both of them are so dirty on the feet. We saw how Kara France did fucking Cody Garbrandt, man. He knocked him out cold. But yeah, I am so excited for that fight now that it's basically done. It's sold now. The fight, the fans want to see it. They want the fight. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. But yeah, Felipe Dos Santos is bona fide, I would say top 12 at least flyweight in my opinion, maybe even top 10. I think you give him, I got to look at the flyweight division, but who do you give him next? Because I think he deserves another, maybe Alex Perez type of guy. I don't know if he has a fight scheduled actually.
He deserves top 15, I believe that.
No, absolutely. But I think because flyweight is so shallow, that's the thing. It's like, is Tim Elliott coming? I feel like Tim Elliott has a fight scheduled.
Muhammad Makayev.
Yeah, that's going to be a great fight. Oh my goodness,
that is.
Man.
But yeah, Rohan, I want to talk predictions, and then we'll get into the UFC Noche. I know that's what everyone's here for. We have a lot of thoughts when it comes to that entire card, but Manel Kape versus Kara France. Let's say it happens next. I gotta go Manel Kape. This guy is so fucking clean on the feet. I think it's a very close fight that goes the distance. My only worry is I heard they're possibly targeting that fight for New Zealand. Will the judges hoe Manel Kape? I could definitely see that happening. I think this fight goes the distance. I think Manel Kape wins the fight in the eye of the fans by this much. But I could see the judges giving it to Kara France. That's my exact prediction for Kape France. I think it's a very exciting fight on the feet. I don't think anybody gets finished. But man, I just think Manel Kape is that much better.
I do, man. I think Kape finds a finish in that fight, man. And I know Kara France is so skilled, but he has been susceptible to really big shots because he gets careless. We've seen it in the past. Remember when he fought Brandon Royval? He had Royval hurt bad, and then he got too overzealous and got caught. Was it a flying knee that he got caught with?
By Royval? Yeah. It was like a spinning elbow.
Or it was a spinning, I think it was something crazy. But yeah, no, Kara France does eat shots, and Manel Kape, man, I think coming in here with this ill intent, like he wants to hurt this man bad. And obviously the feelings are mutual. I think Kai feels the same way now, but I just think that Manel is a little faster. He hits a little harder. And I don't know, man. He may be even a little bigger than Kai. I haven't seen them side by side, but I don't know. He looks big for a flyweight, but yeah, I don't know. I think I got caught by finish, man. That's my prediction.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right, let's get into UFC Noche. Our predictions for that fight card, the main event. What was the last time we saw a championship fight on a fight night? I believe it was, off the top of my head, Davison Figueiredo versus Joseph Benavidez too, when the pandemic first started. And I also believe it was on a Wednesday, or it was on a Saturday, but they were doing fights on a Wednesday. I missed those fucking days.
Bro, I remember that card.
Thank God for Dana White Contender Series, though.
Yeah.
Bro, back then, they were doing Dana White Contender Series on Tuesday. They had like a card now and then on Wednesday, and then another card on Saturday. Fuck, I miss those times. Jesus. But this fight, Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko, I see. And before I get into that, we're going to go over the three main fights, which are Grasso, Shevchenko, Holland, Della Maddalena, and Rosas Mitchell. And then we'll go over a couple other notable fights as well. We're not going to go over the entire card because there are a bunch of late replacements as well, a bunch of newcomers. So only really the notable fights on the card, but we'll give our in-depth breakdown. Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Now, I see tons and tons and tons of people on Alexa Grasso. I believe she opened around like plus 200, plus 250, and she's now down to like plus 130, plus 140. Everybody on Twitter or X, whatever you want to fucking call it, they're on Alexa Grasso.
Yeah.
And Rohan, I'm not going to lie, I'm on the other side. I like Valentina Shevchenko to win a very, very close decision. I could see the judges giving it to Grasso because it's UFC Noche, but man, and the crowd's going to be behind her, reacting to every shot she throws. but I think Shevchenko's going to mix in those takedowns. I think she's going to put her in the crucifix like she did in the first fight. The striking is going to be close. I do not see a finish in this fight whatsoever. But I gotta go Valentina Shevchenko. I think she gets that belt back. And as I said, tons of people are on Grasso, but I'm going Shevchenko by a very close decision. I think Grasso scores points on the feet, threatens submissions, but I think Shevchenko does just enough to get her belt back. What do you think? I'm curious to hear.
Yeah, man, I'm actually right with you on this one. I have a really close decision going in the favor of Valentina Shevchenko, and I just feel like she was surprised, and I was surprised at how good Alexa Grasso was on the feet. She, honestly, looking at that fight, watching it again, she looked faster than Valentina. She had a better rhythm. She was pumping that jab so well. And I just really don't think Valentina was prepared for that. I thought that she assumed that she'd have the speed advantage, as she usually does against her opponents. But man, and Alexa Grasso's defensive boxing really stood out.
Incredible.
She has a beautiful guard. She keeps her hands up always. You know, a lot of people tend to drop their hands, especially when they get careless and when the fights wane on, especially in the later rounds. But she did not the entire time. And when Valentina realized that she wasn't having as much success on the feet, she immediately started to wrestle. And it was clear that in the wrestling department, not the jiu-jitsu department, not the grappling department, because she did get submitted, but in the wrestling department, she had a clear advantage, clear strength advantage. She seemed a much stronger fighter. She was easily landing takedowns on Alexa Grasso, even won the second and third rounds just based off the takedowns alone. And that freaking over like 4.5 minutes of control time, I think it was, over the span of those 2 rounds. And we were watching a YouTube stream earlier, brought it up. Jason Herzog just randomly stood them up in the middle of that third round, I think it was, for no reason, because Valentina worked really hard for that takedown, and she was actually, active on the ground. But Herzog stood them up, and I thought that could have even, been in the, been favorable to Valentina had he let them stay on the ground. But he stood them up, and then obviously in the fourth round, Alexa found a finish because of that careless mistake. But I think that the path to victory for Valentina is so clear. Just take her down and keep her there, because she has the wrestling advantage so clearly. So I think she does that for enough rounds. I think her coaches encourage her to do that, and I think she finds a victory here. I think it's by unanimous decision. That's what I'll say.
I'm with you. I'm with you all day, every day.
Yeah.
I think Valentina does it in a very close decision. As I mentioned before, I think Grasso has her moments. I just think Valentina is that good. She's going to have the IQ to make the right adjustments, not make the mistake of giving up her back like before, which is very key.
It was a 1 in a million thing. We never see Valentina just carelessly throw spinning techniques like that. And then Alexa just made sure to jump on that and finish the fight from there. But yeah, that was just a really bad mistake that I don't think she'll let happen again. So.
Yeah. That's all we really got. Anything else you want to talk about when it comes to the main event? Super excited that there's, as I said, a championship fight on a fucking fight night.
Yeah, man, exactly. No, nothing else to say. I'm just excited.
Fantastic. We're both going Shevchenko by close decision. Next up, let's go to Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Before I get into that, guys, my fucking mouth is dry as hell. I got my boy giving me water. Thank you, Dev. Thank you very much. I'm excited for this fight. Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Dude. Everybody on Twitter is 50-50. The entire MMA community. I think anybody could win this fight. The thing with both of these fights, the main and the co-main, anybody could take these home.
Yeah.
But I think people, and I'm seeing more people on Holland than they do Jack Della Maddalena. I think Della Maddalena is being massively underrated here. I think this guy is really good.
Well, he's the favorite,
and if we look, real quick, let me say this. If we look back in that fight against Basil Hafez, the fight in which a lot of people thought he lost, I thought Della Maddalena did enough. The one mistake, the only reason he lost that fight is because he kept threatening that guillotine and just got held down. All he has to do is not do that. And Holland isn't going to shoot. Who's the better striker, Jack Della Maddalena or Kevin Holland? It's very close, but I got to give the slight edge to Jack Della Maddalena. I think he's going to eventually get Kevin Holland out of there, man. What do you think?
Dude, I mean, I rewatched that fight against Basil Hafez, bro. That was a barn burner, though, because JDM proved that he had a really, really good chin in that fight.
Both of them.
Yeah, but he was eating, my point is, he was eating really big shots. When he thought that he had Hafez hurt against the cage, he started to open up. But when he did that, his chin was wide open in the air, and he was eating huge shots. But again, to your point, he mainly, the only reason that fight was really controversial is because he let the fight go to the ground, which Kevin Holland's not going to look to do in this fight. Obviously, if it does go to the ground, Kevin Holland has a significant advantage. He's the better grappler by a mile. But on the feet, where this fight will take place, It's a pick 'em, man. Because
wait. Let me interrupt. Better grappler by a mile?
Bro, Kevin Holland is a nasty jiu-jitsu fighter. What are you talking about?
Nasty
I mean, we really haven't seen Jack Della Maddalena have to do anything. Obviously, he subbed Randy Brown, but that was because Randy Brown fucking was ass.
So you're saying if Kevin Holland is on top of Jack Della Maddalena, you think he can finish him?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you?
I disagree.
Of course.
I disagree.
You don't think if Kevin Holland is in a dominant position on the ground, he can finish Jack Della Maddalena by submission?
I don't think so. When was the last time Kevin Holland finished somebody from a submission on top?
I mean, why are you specifying and saying on top? I mean, who's saying it has to be on top? I mean, sometimes Jack Della Maddalena could knock him down. He could finish him off his back. I mean, Kevin Holland's a very versatile jiu-jitsu fighter, bro. That's the
It's just point he's not, but also he's not going to get on top. When do you see?
This but I'm not even predicting this fight to go to the ground at any point. I think it's going to be on the feet the entire time. And my point was, it's a pick 'em on the feet because JDM has some of the best boxing in the sport. But man, Kevin Holland is so fast and he's going to fight from a distance as Randy Brown did against JDM. But Randy Brown is just a little too cavalier with everything he does. He's just a little loose with his footwork. He tends to drop his hands and, kind of showboat a little bit. Kevin Holland does that, but to a lesser extent. He more likes to get into your head with his words, just talk you to death. But I think, he's going to be looking to make a statement here. Kevin Holland always, looks to put on a fight, put on a show. And this is going to be a really close fight. I think both fighters will have their moments, but ultimately I see Kevin Holland winning a razor-thin split decision.
You know what's crazy about Kevin Holland? What? Ever since the pandemic started, he's fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then Saturday will mark 15 times in 3 years. Think about this, guys. You can call it 3.5. It's like 3 years and 3 months. This guy's fought 15 times. That's an average of 5 fights a year. Who the fuck does that? Insane. This guy is fucking ridiculous. He's, he'll show up whenever to a fight, and he's talented. At middleweight, not so much, just because he was able to, he was held down by the bigger guys, and Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori. But man, he's just looks so good at 170. Disregard the Stephen Thompson fight. He looked great in rounds 1 and 2. He broke his hand. And then Ponzinibbio, he also remember that it seemed like his hand was hurt as well in that fight, and he still finished him with his non-dominant hand only. Incredible performance there. And then Michael Chiesa, incredible performance.
But Michael Chiesa, dude, he sucks. How did he predict his own fate? That was crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy. But Jack Della Maddalena, man, people are fucking underrating this guy because of his last performance. This guy is so clean with the strikes. Man, I just think he out-cleans him. I think that's the story of the fight. Out-cleans him. At the same time, will outpower him. His accuracy. Man, this guy's fantastic accuracy. And so does Kevin Holland, don't get me wrong. As I said, you saw him knock out Ponzinibbio with only one hand on where he was off balance and clipped him with the left. Incredible knockout. But I think Della Maddalena, in a similar situation to the main event, is this much better on the feet. And it's going to be a striking match. I like Jack Della Maddalena to win this fight by finish in the first round. What's your final prediction?
First round finish. I told you. I got Kevin Holland by a split decision. That's my pick.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. One more main fight that really sticks out on this card that we'll talk about. The return of the youngest fighter on the roster, Raul Rosas, taking on Terrence Mitchell. And I think I talked about Terrence Mitchell before we talk about Rosas. I think I talked about Terrence Mitchell on our UFC 290 full podcast. But for those that didn't hear the story, I'll tell you a little story. I'm a massive Ultimate Fighter guy. Just love the show. And one of my favorite seasons, probably top 2 or 3 seasons of the Ultimate Fighter is the flyweight season. Joseph Benavidez and Henry Cejudo. And this guy, Terrence Crawford, was talking all that shit. He was undefeated fighter, I believe, or he hadn't lost in a significant period of time. And I thought this guy was going to be the next big thing. And he goes in there against Kai Kara-France. That was his first fight on the Ultimate Fighter. And he gets knocked the fuck out in 30 seconds. And we didn't hear from him for forever. I mean, he was off the show. Came back and fought on the regional scene 2 years later after that exhibition against Kara-France. And then took 5 years off. And then had another 2 amateur fights. And then got the call in July to face Cameron Simon on a week's notice, but he gassed out after 2 minutes. Do you remember that? He got ground and pounded by Cameron Simon. It was sad, I did have money on Simon because I knew Terrence Mitchell was going to get fucked up. But I'm a Terrence Mitchell fan. One of the worst fighters in the bantamweight division, but I'm a fan just because I love the show. he's going to get fucked up by Raul Rosas. He's not going to get like knocked out. He's not going to get hurt. He's going to get taken down and he's going to get submitted probably within 2 minutes. That's literally all there is when it comes to this fight. If Cameron Simon is making you gas and flattening you out on the ground, Raul Rosas is probably going to choke. My guess is he chokes him unconscious. We see Terrence Mitchell lying there snoring. What do you think?
Agreed, man. Agreed. I mean, 100%. All it is Terrence Mitchell is not a UFC caliber fighter. I mean, he came up through the Alaskan regional scene. There's not a lot of real competition there. Obviously, people were stressing about the line on this fight because Raul is such a big favorite. Just given that his last fight was a dominating loss. Like, I mean, he got destroyed in that last fight against Christian Rodriguez.
That was not a good look.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good look, but I mean, being a kid, he's only 18 years old, right?
He was 17 when he made his Contender Series fight.
Exactly. So, dude, he's learning. He's still learning. And, I mean, he's obviously, that is the harshest learning experience you can receive, in the UFC. And he's going to learn from that fight. But he doesn't really have to learn much because he has a significant wrestling, grappling advantage over Terrence Mitchell. Again, somebody who's not really a UFC caliber fighter. I think he gets the job done in, like you said, first round. I see a first round sub. Yeah,
I'm with you 100%. And that's really, to be honest, we're not trying to cut this off short.
Yeah, no,
that is all there is to say about this fight.
I mean, after the first two fights, which will be excellent. I mean, the rest, no, actually, the fight after this, Daniel Zellhuber and
it's gonna be good.
Giagos, that should be a good fight.
Speaking of, I don't know if you want to get into that now, but I'll give you the choice. What do you want to talk about next? There's a bunch of, I wouldn't say fights that stand out, but fun fights. Just choose one. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about Zellhuber since that's the next one on the card. He's taking on Christos Giagos. Obviously, Zellhuber, he's 1-1 in the UFC. He had a really impressive win in his last fight.
The debut fight. Fuck, I do not want to talk about
that. The debut was bad, but again, he's another young fighter. He's only 24 years old, and he's going to have a significant speed advantage against Christos Giagos. Somebody who's, he's flat-footed. He looks to stalk his opponent and usually looks to take him and finish him on the ground. Is that what he did in his last fight, or did he... Yeah,
say that one more time?
Did he get a submission in his last fight?
Who?
No, he won by left hook.
Oh, he knocked out Ricky Glenn. That was crazy. Okay. And that was a fight that I thought was going to be extremely close because Ricky Glenn actually went to a draw with Grant Dawson. And he actually didn't look bad in previous fights. But then he goes up and just gets fucking knocked out by a guy in Christos Giagos. When was the last time he knocked somebody out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Last time he knocked somebody out was 2016, and he just starches Ricky Glenn. So I really don't have a read on this Giagos guy. Is he on steroids? Is he good? Is he bad? What the fuck is going on? But I think if this fight plays on the feet, I think
he's gonna
wins, and he's got good takedown defense. If Giagos is getting pieced up and wants to shoot, I think Zellhuber stuffs it, man. I'm going Daniel Zellhuber. What's your final prediction?
Agreed. I got Daniel Zellhuber. I'm going to say by a unanimous decision in this one because I think Giagos is really tough. But, man, he's going to feed off of that home crowd energy as well. Is it really home crowd energy? Where are they fighting?
Las Vegas.
I feel like
there's going to be Mexicans.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Mexicans to support. Alexa Grasso, Mexican champ, is fighting.
And there are a lot of Mexicans on the card, period.
Yeah, Rosas, Mexican as well. Zellhuber.
Lupita Godinez.
Yeah. So this is, he's going to have the crowd behind him as well. I think he is composed in this fight after learning from his last, his debut fight. I think he impresses here in this spot, and I got him by unanimous decision. So yeah, Daniel Zellhuber is my pick.
I think Zellhuber, is he going to get him out of there? Probably not. Give me Zellhuber decision as well. Yeah. What's next on the list, Rohan? What do you want to talk about?
The return of Roman Kopylov.
Man. Yeah, taking on Josh Frem. I like Roman Kopylov in this spot a lot, and I'll tell you why. It's open minus 220. I want to say minus 225 for Kopylov, and now he's at minus 300 as soon as the fight week has started. He made that jump with his odds. I just think he's better than Josh Frem than you saw in Josh Frem's last fight against Jamie Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
He won, but
it's Jamie Pickett. That's the thing, Jamie Pickett, man. You gotta finish Jamie Pickett if you got it as an opponent. That's the rule.
That is the rule.
But nah, man. I think I agree, man. I just think that Roman Kopylov, that fucking with the head kick knockout, dude. That was.
If you guys haven't seen that, Roman Kopylov versus who was that? What the fuck was his name? Claudio Ribeiro.
Yeah. Brazilian
starched him.
Yeah, beautiful head kick.
What a fucking knockout.
He showcased his dexterity in that fight. I think he's going to have the advantage on the feet. He should have just the overall advantage in this fight. I think if he wants to wrestle, he could do that too. I think he wins this fight easily.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Simple as that. I wouldn't say maybe
not
Frem,
easily. Okay, maybe not easily.
Frem scores a takedown.
Yeah,
but I think Kopylov outclasses him for most of the fight.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about on this card?
Not really. I mean, we see Tracy Cortez.
Oh, that's the last one we'll talk about. Tracy Cortez versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. Yeah. And actually, we shouldn't just brush over this because this is a ranked fight, I want to say. I'm going to go to the rankings real quick. Jasmine Jasudavicius coming off a big win against Miranda Maverick in a fight she fucking dominated. Mm-hmm. If we go to this is a flyweight fight, I believe. Tracy Cortez is number 14 in the rankings. Is Jasmine just not ranked? Wow, I thought she was. Karine Silva took her spot probably. Mm-hmm. But after she beat Miranda Maverick, she was ranked. But the winner of this fight will be ranked, or they're losing their rank in Tracy Cortez. This is This is going to be such a close fight. Like I don't know who's going to win. This is going to be incredibly, incredibly close. It's going to be back and forth on the feet. I don't even know if they'll go to the wrestling. Both fighters will probably cancel each other out on the mat. Mm-hmm. I think this might just turn into a striking match. And man, I do think Jasmine Jasudavicius is again this much better on the feet than Tracy Cortez. However, Cortez is a grinder. She'll get you down to the ground, but Jasudavicius, man, she's a grinder herself. If you guys don't like women's MMA, I do think you should tune into this because this is going to be it's going to be entertaining, and it's a fight that's very, very hard to call. But as I just said, when it comes to a prediction, I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius just because I think she's this much better on the feet. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that both ladies probably would cancel each other out on the ground. You know, I've seen Tracy Cortez usually likes to wrestle, and she has great back takes, but so does Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think she showcased that in her last fight against Miranda Maverick, who usually out-wrestles her opponents. So, I mean, yeah, I think this fight probably stays on the feet. And I kind of agree with you, but I just think that Tracy Cortez also has, Mexican heritage. She's going to have the crowd on her side as well. And so, just to spice it up, I think I'll go Tracy Cortez by a very close decision. She tends to win most of her fights by split or unanimous. So I'll take her by split here in this fight.
Fair enough, man. I think that's all we got. No?
No, that's all we got. I mean, it's a really good card. We are so fortunate that we're getting a fucking title fight for free. Kinda, if you got ESPN Plus or streaming.
No, I don't know. No. What is this website you keep talking
about? No. Hey, guys.
What is this website you keep mentioning?
It's an imaginary website that I have in my head when I don't want to buy the pay-per-view, I'm like, let me just tune in there, No. There's nothing. I
don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but anyways.
Listen, bro.
Hey, if there's a fight we didn't talk about and you guys really want us to break us down, just either shoot us a message on Instagram or just go to the comment section of this video. We'll reply real quick and give you our thoughts on the fight. Exactly. But besides that, that's all we got for this podcast episode. That's probably going to be one of our longest episodes ever. But thank you guys for tuning in. Final words for the people, Rohan. What do you got to say?
I don't know. Let's go Valentina. I picked her. You picked her. I got her in the rematch, so let's go.
Sign off, Lucas, Rohan. Peace.